Hello, cyberspace. It's me, Angie, and I welcome both you and your ears to an episode of Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. In case you're wondering who Angie is, I'm Angie, and I'm super stoked to spend some time sharing with y'all some of my experiences and thoughts on living, loving, music, and space travel, or spiritual experiences as I often refer to as space travel. A rather broad spectrum, right? Well, my hope is to always share something that resonates with, intrigues, excites, or perhaps inspires you. On that note, I invite you to sit back, buckle up, and take a little trip out into the cosmos with me. Hello. It's Angie, and welcome to everybody out there listening from cyberspace. Thanks for joining me for another episode of Life, Love, Music, and Space Travel. It's officially episode number 6. Holy mackerel. I did it. I'm doing it. I'm doing the thing. I'm following through with a dream here for episode 6. Holy cannoli. I really want to thank everybody straight up for listening. I know that there are people out there listening, and my gratitude really runs very deep. Thanks for taking the time out of your busy day to listen to me and share some time with me. Episode 6. I'm home on a Monday evening. It's actually 10:54. I feel like this might have been the same exact time that I recorded it last week, except it was Sunday. I am trying to, I have a soft goal of getting my episodes out on Monday morning, beginning of the week, so you'll have something to listen to on your way to work. I don't really know what a weekend is. I work on the weekends, but some people still live the traditional work life, I think, and have Saturdays and Sundays off and then go back to work on Mondays. For anyone out there who needs some listening fodder, that's really, I'm shooting to have something for y'all to listen to on Monday morning. But unfortunately, or fortunately, this one's going to come to you on Tuesday morning. So I was a little bit behind or a little tired. I worked a busy weekend. Better late than never, right? I'm learning to be flexible with myself and gentle with myself and do the things I need to do to take care of myself, which sort of feeds right into this week's topic, self-care. Something that we probably all could work a little bit harder at. I shouldn't really put work in front of it because self-care really shouldn't be something we have to work at. And yet I do believe, at least I know in my world, part of my human condition is not taking care of self as regularly as I should. I am getting better at it, and I really don't like to use the word should. I've heard it said, don't should on yourself. And yet I think I should on myself pretty often. I am working at being more gentle with myself. Another area where I'm working at it. I need to take that work away because it makes it sound, who wants to work? My goodness. Yeah, so today's topic is self-care. And I'll take the definition right out of according to Google anyway. This is the definition from the Oxford Languages, self-care. The practice of taking action to preserve or improve one's own health. The practice of taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness, in particular during periods of stress. Expressing oneself is an essential form of self-care. So I guess really, which I've already kind of known, doing this podcast and allowing myself to put my voice out there and express myself is a form of self-care. Perhaps that's why I enjoy it so much. Getting all of the stuff out of my head or sharing myself with others. It is an act of self-care. I'm grateful to do it, and I hope that it helps somebody, always. I was actually chatting with quite a few people this week. It was really enjoyable to hear other people's ideas of self-care, and I will share those with you also. Maybe I'll keep everyone anonymous. But I got some really good interesting suggestions as far as self-care goes from all kinds of ages. I work with some really cool young women. I want to say like maybe 17 or so, 17 to 19, and they had some great ideas for self-care. Really inspiring. So let's go. I think I'll drop right into the life area. I'm going to throw out there a couple different times throughout this and finish it up with definitely suggesting, offering to all of you to think about what self-care looks like in your life. I know for me, as I've mentioned, there was a definite time when I didn't know anything about self-care. I did things to, make myself feel better, perhaps, to lighten the blow on something, to take the weight off in some way. As is mentioned, self-care, taking an active role in protecting one's own well-being and happiness in particular during periods of stress. I've lived a pretty stressful life, as I'm pretty sure many of us have. And so that idea of how did I deal with that before? I definitely didn't do it in healthy ways always. But I suppose that on its own is an act of self-care. You do what you do when you can. I'll throw out there, this whole thing makes me think of giving props to Ice Cube. I better check myself before I wreck myself. That's sort of the way I look at things now. What am I doing to protect my mental health? As I have mentioned in the past, I am in recovery. Have been for quite some time. Actually, in all honesty, haven't had a drink in almost 20 years. Haven't had any other stuff, but by any means recreationally in the summer will be 4 years. Taking that road has required me to find some different tools to use in times of great stress, and not even in great stress, in the workplace, in relationships, family matters, out on the road, driving around. In Eagle, there were plenty of roundabouts. If you're not familiar with the roundabout, go ahead and Google it, and that will cause you some stress for sure. So I have had to find different outlets, something else to do to take care of so that my mind doesn't explode, or, I don't end up giving somebody the finger, of which I've definitely given the finger many, many times over the years. But I'm really trying not to beat my horn as much, and it's been pretty cool. It's been a pretty cool journey to gain some other options, which are definitely necessary if I'm going to stay sane on this earthly experience. In life, in general, oh my goodness, this last few years has been, it's been quite a wild ride. Lots of stress for sure. And it's been really neat to reflect on what it was like, how I really made it through these last few years. I definitely have picked up some tools over the years. I delved a bit into meditation, and I'm no guru by any means. I use the fantastic Headspace app, which offers all different kinds of meditation. And in all honesty, I often use it at night to go to sleep, and it really works wonderfully. I did a little bit of today, actually. I focused on self-care today and decided that before I went and, put this episode out, I was actually going to have something to talk about. So self-care for me directly today looked like allowing myself to sleep in. I slept in until or at least I stayed in bed until about 10 o'clock. The dogs wanted to get up a little earlier, but I stayed in bed anyway. That's necessary for me. I work a pretty busy weekend. There's a double in there. And so I like to sleep in. So I allowed myself to sleep in. I got up, eventually fed the dogs, went outside, sat in the sun for a while. I actually tried to do a 10-minute meditation. There was some stuff going on around me, but I squeezed in a little bit of time, and it felt good. I did a little bit of coloring today. Mom, Dad, and I all went to the beach, so I got some shelling in, some salty air. I watched The Young and the Restless, which is definitely an act of self-care for me. Mom and I joining in on a little bit of soap time, and Dad even joins in every now and then. Of course, he's usually just on the couch and we have it on, but he's getting to know some of the Genoa City characters. And And that's that's a nice little bit of checkout. I watch some more TV as well, but I had a cup of tea. I came in here into the bedroom, which is where I am recording my podcast. I'm super high tech, and before bed, I'm recording this. It's really been a pretty wonderful day. Now, I didn't get in some of the things that I think I might get in next time, painting my nails or moisturizing. Some of those ideas, those are pretty necessary as well. But in general, when I think of life, just focusing on the life area of self-care, what do I do? Set boundaries. There was a time when I didn't know what a boundary was. For me, it is about actually Sunday. I worked Sunday. I had worked a double on Saturday, and there were a bunch of us on Sunday, and they asked if I wanted to go home, and I said yes. That's an act of self-care for me. I have some funds, so I don't have to scrimp and save right now, which is really wonderful. I took the time to go down to the beach for a little bit, came home, walked the dogs, but not working myself to the bone is very healthy for me. I squeezed in a little bit of time with some friends Sunday night even, which was also wonderful. So today things look very differently for me in relation to self-care. I have been here in this new life, I'll call it, for the last 3 months, and it's been, I've been noticing how well I'm actually doing, and I'm pretty darn sure it's directly related to my practicing self-care, allowing myself to settle into the fact that this is where I am, not staying in the past in that area of what ifs. I mean, I have come out of an intensely stressful, challenging, overwhelming emotional time. I have talked about it many times, but it's such a big deal, and sometimes it seems strange how I don't know how much smoother things are right now. I mean, divorce, house sale, leaving the state I lived in for the last 27 years. Friends have gone. I'm in a new place of employment, living with mom and dad. That's a lot of stuff to go on. And I know things could be a lot worse, for sure, mostly related to my acceptance around the situation or how I was choosing to handle things. I'm grateful, very, very grateful that over the years I have been presented with information and a different way of living, I guess I'll say, so that by the time I got in my car and drove away from Colorado, I started and embarked on this new journey. It is so much smoother than I ever dreamed that it could be. Once again, life is not the way I want it to be, and generally people are not doing what I want them to do, but that's the way life is. And so often I can say, thank goodness I'm not getting what I want or didn't get what I want, and instead this pretty amazing life is unfolding. Self-care for me lately has been about continuing to maintain a relationship with people from Colorado. I'm still communicating with my ex-husband. I'm so grateful for that. That is something I did not think was going to take place. I did not think that we would get here. It has really been a great gift to be able to communicate with him. I can't really express it properly enough, and letting go of my idea of how I think things are supposed to be or the way I'm supposed to be handling this situation, and instead doing what I feel is self-care. I do feel that communicating with him is the way things are supposed to be right now. Another self-care moment was my sending off a very belated birthday gift to my beautiful babe, my stepdaughter in Alaska. Yes, she is still. She's my girl, and I love her very much. And albeit it was late, I finally sent off her care package today, her belated birthday gift. I hope she enjoys it. That was an act of self-care for me. I've been sending off some little gifts to people, taking care of those that I love. My 2 furry babes are laying in front of me, lounging out like there's not a care in the world. That makes me feel pretty darn good. Doing everything that I need to do to care for them is an act of self-care. We took a walk yesterday. It was wonderful. They love to get outside and bark at things and smell things and take a leak on things. And I'm grateful for them and very grateful to be in a position to be able to care for them. So, moving right along, I'm going to move right into the love category. Self-care in the love arena. Ooh, that's definitely been a more challenging area for me, but directly related to, where I've been, as challenging as it can be to talk about self-care in love. At one time looked like my deciding to move downstairs. Set myself up in a position to have the space that I needed. I don't know that I thought of it as self-care at the time, but I knew I needed to do something different, and that's definitely not something I would have done at one point in my life. By deciding to move downstairs and follow through with what my gut was telling me, little did I know at the time, but it was a great act of self-care, and following through with the most painful decision in my life, which was to file for divorce and follow through with it. I ultimately think it's the best thing for both of us. I can only say that because of where I am now and where we are now, together, communicating together. I have no idea where life is going to lead us from this point. But had I not made those decisions, I think we would still be hating each other. So I can't ignore that fact. And I look at that, I'll reflect back on that making the hard decisions are usually the decisions that are best for me. I have recently had to set some mental boundaries around some relationships, some love relationships, or what could be a love relationship. Allowing myself to acknowledge and see the relationship really for what it is a huge act of self-care. Let's see how many times I can say self-care in this episode. But seeing the other person really for who they are and how they are, and not forcing or fawning or begging or pleading. Those things are not good for me. And so sitting back and really believing that whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And what is it that I'm looking for, or why am I reaching for somebody? Just sit back, relax, let the universe unfold its plan to me, see things for what they are today. Self-care for sure. I don't really have a whole lot of going on in the love arena, that's for sure. And I'm really okay with that. Right now, I just happen to be loving things, as I've mentioned, my 2 furry babes. I'm loving my parents. I'm hanging out with them. I'm loving the ocean. I'm loving my new job. I'm allowing myself to really acknowledge how pretty fucking good life is right now, even though it's not the way, quote, I want it to be. Man, I would shortchange myself. I would make decisions based on, if I could get what I wanted, I would do things that would just make me, quote, comfortable. But instead, things are the way they are. And they are really pretty darn good. And for me to ignore that and stay in a self-pity place would be such a huge disservice. So, self-care in love. I'm in love with Angie. That's where it has to start, right? Self-love, self-care, self-love. All right, moving right along at a breaking speed here this evening. Maybe it's because I know that eventually I get to crawl into bed, and I'm pretty excited about that. I love my days off. I've set up a schedule that works for me. I really do work maybe Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, preferring to work Friday, Saturdays, and Sundays. But I've realized I can set up a schedule that works for me. That feels really good. I will say, touching on probably something that I am lacking in the area of right now is exercise. I did get a Vitamix. I'm sort of backtracking here into the life area. Self-care for sure. I did get a Vitamix. I had a terrible, terrible, terrible diet. I still don't have a great diet, but I've really been transitioning because I want to feel good. I do. I want to feel good. I'd love to lose some weight. Not for anybody else these days. I'm not thinking about, looking good for somebody else, although that surely would be a bonus, but I want to feel good. And so I did buy this Vitamix, and I've been making shakes for the last few weeks. I think I lost 5 pounds just from the shakes because I have been eating less. I have not been craving sugar like I used to. And that's felt pretty wonderful. I can only imagine what would take place if I started going to the gym. But even though I do have a Planet Fitness membership, I have not been in a few weeks ever since I started working. And so I get my walking and my steps in at work. And when I go down to the beach and when I walk the dogs, but eventually I'll squeeze back in some gym time. I'm sure I can't be living the perfect lifestyle right now. So it's okay that the gym's not there. It gives me something to shoot for. Next, and I am trying not to use filler words. There's a whole separate topic. Thank goodness for the editing process. I've been trying to take notice of ums, you knows, and so's. Maybe there's some other ones in there. And it's interesting how often those words pour out of my mouth. Deep breath. Slow down, Ange. And let's move into music. Ooh, this is like my favorite self-care area. Oh, it's coming up. April is coming up in about, 13 days or so. I think Britt Floyd at the Wilson Center. I cannot wait. This April is going to be it is a month of music for me, and I am incredibly excited and ready to do some dancing and listen to some fantastic live music, finishing it up in April, the end of April with Jazz Fest. I'm just getting more and more excited about going to Jazz Fest also. Very sad, I will say, I am going to touch on it. What a great loss. Taylor Hawkins from the Foo Fighters. What a very sad, we've lost a lot of musicians. We lost a lot of people. Please understand that I know that we lose people every day. No one here gets out alive, that is for sure. And I know that people are suffering and struggling with loss. But in the music world, we have, the music world, quite a few people have transitioned over the last couple years. Foo Fighters were supposed to headline the Sunday weekend that I'm going to Jazz Fest, and I'm wondering if they're still going to play and kind of hoping that if they do, they decide to do maybe some sort of a funeral service procession down the streets of New Orleans. I've heard that that's something that they do. My cousin has actually mentioned to me trying to get the family to New Orleans to celebrate the life of my Uncle Jacques and my Uncle Pierre. Both of my uncles transitioned last year, and I guess in New Orleans you can have a jazz, band of some kind play down the streets and celebrate the life of loved ones. On that note, music is a huge area of self-care for me. At night, I often listen to my Spotify playlist, and it plays for hours because I have just added every one of my favorite songs to my playlist. And whenever I play it, I always think at one point, oh, I love that song. Oh, I love that song. Oh my goodness, I love that song. And then I realized, oh, that's because it's my playlist. I used to be a Pandora gal, and then I found Spotify, and I definitely am a Spotify lover, mainly for the ability to create my own Spotify playlist. It's a pretty spectacular option. Music does a lot of things for me. It soothes this savage beast, for sure. There is just, there's something about it. It can take me places. It can make me feel better, nostalgic. It can also bring up memories of old times and really make me quite emotional. I don't always care for it at that point, but it's pretty spectacular where it can take you, where it can take me. I spoke with somebody recently who said they'd never been to a concert, and spoke with somebody else who said concerts really weren't their thing, and that always sort of blows me away. I love and live for live music, and I haven't been to anything in quite a while, but I've been reflecting. I just recently got a Bob Weir and the Wolf Brothers album, vinyl. They recorded in Vail and at Red Rocks. Some of their songs, put a compilation record together, and I'm so excited to have these two great shows that I was able to attend, and just a few pieces of them. I feel like my memories are on vinyl. So music is a big deal. Whatever you can find that just makes you feel better, an act of self-care. And then I'll move right into, this is going to be one of my favorite sections, but the space travel area. What does self-care look like in the space travel area? And I have mentioned that for me, the space travel section component of my podcast is really based around like spiritual experience type of stuff. I relate that to kind of any area, anything that involves my mental health, spiritual growth. So I also know April will be a month for me. I have mentioned my experience with ketamine and ketamine infusions in a clinical setting, not out raving at the party or, in a recreational sense, but ketamine has been life-changing for me. And I finally was able to get an appointment at the Future Psych Clinic in Myrtle Beach. And my appointment date is April 20th, 4/20. Interesting day, doesn't mean to me what it used to mean to me in the old days. The self-care is taking care of my mental health, and that has really been a life-changing area for me in regards to my depression, PTSD, dealing with trauma. My reaction to things has changed dramatically. I feel like I really didn't know what I was missing. Some people take traditional mainstream meds. They do that. That's just never been an area for me that I've been willing to go down. And so ketamine has worked for me. Google it, look it up, talk to your doctor about it. Perhaps if you're needing some help in that area and some things that you have been trying are not working, maybe that can be an area for you. Lots of different options out there these days. At the very least, do a little bit of searching, expand your education around that area, and you might find something that will help. I'm also looking for a therapist. That's an act of self-care, trying to expand my mental wellness and deal with some stuff. There's always opportunities for growth, for goodness sake, always opportunities for growth. And I've been feeling so much better, continuously sort of blown away by how well I'm doing these days. I am moving out of the darkness. Life is not nearly as heavy as it was. I mean, it was pretty dark. I was pretty overwhelmed. I couldn't imagine a future that, included so much possibility. I'm very, very, very hopeful about where life is possibly going to go. And I'm very comfortable with the way it is right now, which I didn't think it was possible. Plugging into my spiritual life, active self-care. I have to stay connected. I can't isolate. I need to stay a participant in my recovery for sure. And that requires work and commitment. I have not forgotten how bad life was at one point, and that's sort of that keeps me going. Let's see. On that note, what I would like to do is throw out there the suggestions that I received. I talked to, as I mentioned, a few different people, and they gave me their ideas of self-care, and they were pretty interesting, and I definitely appreciated them. I know I talked to my mom just before she went to bed tonight, and she mentioned that an act of self-care for her was prepping coffee for the next day. How nice it was to get up in the morning and have the coffee made and just have to push the button, not have to put it all together. And it is really the little things. A couple of my friends, one friend really, she showed me a few of her drawings, some flower paintings, An act of self-care, getting creative, trying to express yourself authentically. Another friend showed me a picture of his what looks like a delicious crawfish boil. I ate a big cannoli last night. It was delicious. That was an act of self-care, not telling myself that I can't have things or, I need to eat a sweet if I want to eat a sweet. Maybe not all the time by any means, which is also an act of self-care. Don't eat it all, but enjoying things is important. A friend of mine said getting sun exposure in the morning, especially during the winter. Yeah, seasonal depression. I know that affects a lot of people. We're coming out of winter. The sun is not out as much. We can't get out quite as often. She mentioned either outside or a sun lamp if it's dark and cloudy, drinking lots of water, heavy on vegetables, little to no screen time before bed. I'm not really great at that, so that's a really good suggestion. Regular exercise, even if it's a walk with a dog or a yoga class, as long as it's circulation in movement. Movement's a big deal. I can't be still. I do know that my body starts to hurt, and my body tells me a lot of stuff. And so I love all of those. I love all of those suggestions. Thanks, Phoebe. My dear Alaskan babe, Courtney, she mentioned self-care in my life looks like not actively doing something for someone else. We can so often get caught up in doing for others. I am very aware that service work is important. Caring for others is important. We all have jobs. Generally, we work for somebody else in some way, shape, or form. But I love that, not actively doing something for someone else. I take as long as I want to walk around the stores, play on my phone, listen to what I want on the radio, do activities that only I benefit from. Massages, nails, reading, shopping, long showers, one of my favorite. Chilling around in my room and house. I try to do self-care 20% of my day. The rest of the day requires my attention be directed at someone else or someone else's businesses. And, most of us do work for somebody else or go someplace else or take care of somebody else in some way, shape, or form. So please, everyone out there, take some of these fantastic suggestions from others. A couple of the gals at work, moisturizing, as I mentioned, setting boundaries was another one, a real great emotional act of self-care for sure. Caring for myself, putting myself at the top of the list, not placing myself at the bottom, really putting myself up at the top of the list where I put other people. Otherwise, I become resentful. Let's see here. I think I've covered a lot. I feel like I have talked a lot. I'm still very much a work in progress, so I appreciate everybody's patience. I hope that you got something out of this. My real desire is to just remind everybody, self-care. I think I know when I'm taking care of myself, it's much easier for me to be patient with others, to be there for others, to be available for others, to go out into the world and offer assistance, be a good daughter, sister, coworker, waitress, whatever it is, a fellow driver on the road. If I am lagging in the area of self-care, it's very noticeable, and it has a very negative effect on others around me and the rest of the world. And the world is really hurting right now. I think I've mentioned it before, but Ram Dass, one of his, and I'm paraphrasing for sure, but he mentioned the best thing that we can do is take care of ourselves, grow ourselves. And that's the best thing that I can do for anybody. Take care of me, my head, make sure that I am growing spiritually, emotionally, physically, all of that. And the impact that it will have on the world will be profound. I'm going to finish this podcast up today with a question out of one of my favorite topic helpers. I'm at a loss for words here, but Poddex, Poddecs. It's a great tool for conversation starting. Something that you could do with your friends and family at home, or if you have a podcast of your own and you need some help with topics and conversation. Poddex is a great place to go to. You can go online, You can order it as an app. You can order them as physical cards, whatever works for you. This one is out of the self-growth section. Question is, what have you learned about yourself in the past year? I love this question. I love moments when I get to see my own growth. And what have I learned about myself in the past year? My goodness, I'm much more resilient than I ever thought I was. Much more capable than I ever thought I was. Capable of all kinds of things. Capable of forgiveness. Capable of grace. Capable of moving forward in the face of great fear and grief. Learning about myself. I am pretty resilient, if I didn't say that. I'm courageous. I am. I'm courageous, worthy, and I am enough. I've definitely learned that about myself in the past year. I am courageous, I am worthy, and I am enough. And I'm going to say that to all of you, because I do believe that all of you are courageous, worthy, and enough. Take that in. Take it into your heart for sure. Go out into the world and practice some self-care. In all those areas. In the areas of life, love, music, and space travel. Thanks for spending a little time with me. If you have any topics, suggestions, if you have any comments on this episode or any of the previous ones, please feel free to reach out. ASHY@gmail.com. You'll hear it in my closing audio as well. Thanks again so much, really, for your support. Thanks again for joining me on this ride as I grow in what is a really authentic and exciting area for me, expressing myself out to the world and sharing your time with me and letting me share some time with you. On that note, good night from me and good morning to you when you're listening to this. Ciao for now. Bye. So we've reached the end of today's episode. Thanks so very much for listening. It's now time to reconnect to planet Earth and all that comes with living on the blue ball. I'd love to hear your ideas for future episode topics, along with any and all positive and or constructive feedback. Please feel free to contact me at ashysbadass@gmail.com. Thanks again for spending some time with me and allowing me to share myself with you. Until next time, please be gentle with yourselves, be kind to animals, and do all you can to allow your authentic selves to shine brightly.